Land Cruiser series model was the most forgotten SUV in the early 2000s until something happened in 2014. This is the story of the forgotten Land Cruiser known by its code name, the FJ Cruiser. And today we are diving into the mystery of the unsolved question: what exactly happened to this famous Land Cruiser model? Everyone has been asking their own minds is that why exactly was this Land Cruiser the most forgotten Land Cruiser model? Well, the thing about this model is this is the FJ Cruiser, inspired by the classic designs of the Land Cruiser 40 series, the original Land Cruiser that was made in the 1960s. So, by the time in 2009 and 2013, Toyota decided to make a modernized retro model with a little bit more outgoing style, and that is the FJ Cruiser. But then, most people don't understand what exactly is the FJ Cruiser. The FJ Cruiser is basically a larger Land Cruiser that basically derives its design from the original FJ Cruiser, which is the 40 series model. Most people are confused by this is that how is the FJ Cruiser related to the 40 series Land Cruiser? Well, it's simple. The iconic Toyota nameplate that was written on the grille and the separate color of the roof with the body is exactly how the FJ 40 series was made. The 40 series only has one body color while the roof is pretty much a different color, which is white. And they brought that concept back in 2009 with the FJ Cruiser. However, it wasn't long until 2014 it was declined sales. What happens next is, well, Toyota decided to forget all about it. And after a few years ago, the Toyota FJ Cruiser was no longer in production, and it was pretty much the low budget cost of Toyota's branding, and soon enough it became deleted from the Land Cruiser lineup because it discontinued for likely 15 to 31 years. And with that production no longer around, the Land Cruiser continued its lineup with the 300 and the new 250 series model of the Land Cruiser. But this 2026, I think I know what's going to happen next. They decided to bring back the FJ Cruiser, well, a mini version, I guess. I am so excited to see if this concept is finally going to happen, but we're now talking to the old school original Toyota Land Cruiser, this Land Cruiser, the FJ Cruiser. What most people know about the FJ Cruiser is that although it's not likely like the original FJ40, but it is so recognizable. That wide stance, that long body shape, the two-door in the front. But what most of all, the Land Cruiser series of the FJ between 2009 and 2013, the vehicle was discontinued for a very long time. Another strange detail about the FJ Cruiser is that although it's a modernized version of the Land Cruiser, there is something many people don't actually notice, and that is the 4 windshield wipers. I'm serious, there's actually 4 windshield wipers. If you look closely, the front windshield has 3 small wipers. All of them are 3. Yes, instead of a conventional windshield having only 2 wipers, the new concept in 2009 had 4 of them. 3 in the front and 1 small one in the rear window. And in fact, this FJ Cruiser is so wide that it's basically wider than its original counterpart from the 1960s, making this the widest Land Cruiser ever made. compared to the 80 series Land Cruiser, it was just about, let's just say, 4 to 5 inches wide. The Toyota FJ Cruiser is by far the forgotten Land Cruiser that no one ever wants to drive anymore, because who can I even blame? I can't blame Toyota for that, because the Land Cruiser is basically a legendary status in Toyota's history. But 2014 was absolutely an error for disaster. The market reduced the sales of the FJ Cruiser in the United States, and soon enough, all around the world, the FJ Cruiser was discontinued from the Land Cruiser lineup, making it pretty much the low diabolical cost that soon causes its own downfall. So, why cause the downfall? Well, because of its lack of appreciation, many people had many dislikes of the FJ Cruiser just because it's not likely a good vehicle, because most people really think that this was the worst mistake a Toyota Land Cruiser fan could ever signify. Although this vehicle was lost to history between 12 to almost 15 years of legacy, the Toyota Land Cruiser never forgotten its roots as an off-road vehicle. And I appreciate the attempts on the FJ Cruiser. The FJ Cruiser may be the forgotten Land Cruiser because no one really wanted to drive or buy this thing anymore. I mean, many Filipinos still own one of these things because they were pretty much now hard to find and hard to buy because they are limited in the production lineup. The FJ Cruiser is a forgotten symbol of the Land Cruiser's lineup. But how did it all happen? Was it really a marketing failure? Well, in your particular guess, yes, it is. The Toyota FJ Cruiser was a forgotten Land Cruiser that soon evolved from time to time, and every single year, the Toyota FJ Cruiser lineup got smaller and smaller, thus vanishing into the Land Cruiser's name. And guess what happens? The Land Cruiser model of 2009 and 2014 was the FJ Cruiser, and the FJ Cruiser died so early and that no one was ever going to drive it anymore. So, what exactly happened in 2014? Well, it's simple. The Toyota FJ Cruiser met its early demise. Imagine that. From 2009 towards 2014, that was only like... So that could actually mean one thing. The FJ Cruiser died of 6 years old. Imagine that. A 6-year-old production Land Cruiser in the early 2000s died in the mid 2000s and soon became the most controversial commercial of a Toyota Land Cruiser lineup was a mistake. And that mistake was killing this, the FJ Cruiser, the successor to the FJ40 Land Cruiser series. What a disappointment. And it gets even worse. Because of the decline of the FJ Cruiser, many Land Cruiser lovers were extremely annoyed with this. They disliked the deal of Toyota declining the FJ Cruiser, and many fans were arguing if they can bring it back from the dead, even though it was already 6 years ahead of its prime until it was 2014 and they killed the FJ Cruiser. What a sad moment for the Land Cruiser family. The Land Cruiser family grieves over the death of their youngest sibling in the family tree, and then everyone just realized that it was far too late to save the FJ Cruiser from dying in 2014. Rest in peace, Toyota FJ Cruiser. We won't forget your history with all of your other siblings. So that is the full story and the downfall of the Toyota FJ Cruiser. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you go comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!